Hey, a guten Erev Shabbos. How are you all? What a beautiful day. Coming into Shabbos on a positive note. We just heard the news this morning that Sudan, another Muslim country that's been an enemy to Israel forever, has forged a historic peace deal with Israel. And it's remarkable. We started with UAE, we went to Bahrain, and now we're going to Sudan. And of course the question is, who's going to be next in this quest to finally bring peace in the Middle East? But some people say, Rabbi, what's the big deal? Sudan, they're insignificant. Why don't we focus? We need Saudi Arabia, we need the Palestinians, etc., etc. So I have a thought for that, but I want you to hold it for a minute because I want to take you through the portion and then I'm going to swing back around to Sudan. In this week's Torah portion, in the first verse we read, it says, these are the children, the offspring of Noach. Noach was a righteous person in his generation. I tell you every time, every word is nuanced. So the rabbis say, why does he have to tell us Noach was a righteous person in his generation? Bidorotav. Just tell us Noach was a righteous person. What is the significance of letting us know in his generation? And like every good thing in the Talmud, there's an argument. Two rabbis. One rabbi says, you know why it says in his generation? The rabbis are telling you, think about this. Noach lived in a vicious generation, full of murderers and rapists and killers. Yet he was righteous. Imagine if he lived in Abraham's generation. You know how much greater he could have been? If he lived in Moses' generation, you know how much greater he could have been? So that's why the rabbi tells Bidorotav to let us know, listen, he was remarkable in his generation. How much greater could he have been? But then there's an opposing view. It says the opposite. Noach was an ordinary good guy. He tried to take care of his family. He tried to be kind. He tried to do some good work. He tried to be honest. But he was relatively great just to his generation. If he was in Abraham or Moses' generation, he would have been just a regular Joe Schmo. He wasn't a great guy. He was just great relative to the other cronies in his generation who were killing, who were murdering. All right, he was good, but it doesn't make him a real tzaddik. The Rebbe in one of his talks asked a very good question. If there could be two opposing views, one says something so complimentary about Noach, that he was great even in a wicked generation. He would have been much greater in a righteous generation. And then there's an opposing view that says he was great only relative to his generation. But in Abraham or Moses' generation, he would have been just an average schmo. Why take the negative view? Why is there one opinion, Rabbi Yochanan, who says this negative idea? We know in Ethics of Our Fathers it says, judge everyone favorably. Why could Rabbi Yochanan not have judged favorably and said of the opinion that Noach was great and he would have been even greater in Abraham? Why take the negative opinion? And the Rebbe, in his infinite wisdom and great thought and everything, the Rebbe always found such a positive spin to everything. The Rebbe says something really remarkable, which I think will connect us back to Sudan and our own lives. The Rebbe says like this: you read the Bible, you read our history, and who do you read about? You read about Abraham, the father of monotheism. You read about Sarah, the first matriarch of our people, an open house. They changed civilization. You read about Joseph, who was thrown into prison, sold by his brothers, yet saved the world and forgave his brothers. You read about Moses, who stood up to the tyrant Pharaoh and took the Jews out of Egypt. You read about Deborah, who was one of the greatest prophetess and stood up to Sisera and won the war for the Jews. You read about Miriam, who saved her little brother and got her father to come back to her mother and have more children. You read about King David. And you know what me and you, ordinary people, say? All right, you know what? It takes a Moses, it takes a Miriam, it takes a Abraham and Sarah, it takes a Joseph, it takes a King David to change the world. Great leaders, exceptional people, people that are remarkable like nobody else. They could change the world. But you and I, what could we do? We're just ordinary people. We're nobodies. What's going to make a difference? We're little people. You know, they say this old anecdote that Henry Kissinger, the famous Secretary of State of America, Jewish guy, they say the story that one day he decided he wanted to have a three-piece suit, a new custom-made suit. So he's in Italy and he buys material. And then at his next stop, he's in Paris. And he comes to Paris and he gives it to the tailor. He says, here, I got beautiful material. Could you make me a suit? The tailor measures him up again and says, sure, but I'm sorry, but whoever measured you in Italy, it's missing 2 inches. I can't make you a suit. I need another 2 inches. Fine. So he puts it back in his bag. He goes to London and he sees a tailor there and he says, listen, I got this beautiful material in Italy. Could you make me a suit? The guy measures him and he says, he said, I'm sorry, Mr. Kissinger, but you're missing 3 inches here. I can't make you a suit. So then he's in Beijing. He travels to China. He's doing his diplomacy all over. And he comes to China and he goes to the tailor and says, can you make me a suit? The guy says, are you kidding me? You need another double the amount of material to make a suit. Fine. On his way out, he's going to Israel. He comes to Israel. He's in Tel Aviv, and he meets a tailor. And he says, could you make me a suit? The tailor measures him. He says, sure, I can make you a suit. Not a problem. But you have a few inches that are left over. There's even extra material there. Kissinger's blown away. He says, I don't get it. I went to Italy. They measured me. They gave me material. I came to Paris, they said I was 2 inches short on material. I came to London, they said I was 3 inches short. I came to China, they said I was halfway short. And here you tell me there's leftover material. How could it be? And the Jewish tailor to me is very simple. He says, you went to Italy. In Italy, you're a great man. Then you came to Paris, you're even a greater man. And then you went to London, you're a remarkable man. And then you went to China, and you're a giant. But then you came to Israel, and here you're just a little guy. So there was extra material. And the message is like this. Sometimes the impact an ordinary person can make is huge, is remarkable. You don't have to be Moses, or Aaron, or Abraham, or Rebecca, or Miriam, or Devorah to change the world. And that's what Rabbi Yochanan had the vision to say when he says that when it says in the generation of Noach, it means that just compared to his generation, he was righteous, but he was really an ordinary man. What it's really telling us is like this. Rabbi Yochanan is looking at you and I and saying we could be a Noach. Noach was not a tzaddik compared to Abraham and Moses. He was just a tzaddik compared to his generation. But that's the strength that Rabbi Yochanan is giving us to say you could do the same. You and I, all of you watching here today, could all be a Noach. Because Noach was not just a great righteous person. He was a righteous person just for his generation, but he was an ordinary man. So the Rebbe turns us around and says this that we think is negative is really a compliment. What Rabbi Yochanan is really trying to say is that Noach was an ordinary man. He was a simple, regular person, yet he was able to save the world. Who saved the world from destruction? It was Noach. The message is to all of us. We're living in crazy time. You look around, you see what's going on, and you say, everyone raises their hands and gives up hope. Am I going to make peace in the community? Am I going to make peace between Democrats and Republicans? There's so much fighting. There's so much animosity. What could I do? We all lift our hands and say, I give up. We need another Moses, another Lubavitch Rebbe to come. We need another Baal Shem Tov. I can't do it. What Rabbi Yochanan is doing is giving us the inspiration and the courage and telling us you and I could make a difference. You and I, ordinary people, regular Joe Schmoes who live a life of, so to speak, ordinary, we could make a difference and we could change this world. And that's what I want to leave you with. Sudan, you say, what's the big deal? Israel made peace with Sudan. We need Saudi Arabia. We need the Palestinians. We need to make peace with... The little thing doesn't make a difference. Yes, it does. Every little step. Nothing is ordinary, and the ordinary can make the difference. And that's why today's a remarkable day of celebration. Because even though it's just Sudan, it's another step in the right direction. It's another nation recognizing that the only way forward is peace for peace, not peace for land, not because we're going to get something, but because recognizing Israel's strength, Israel's power, and recognizing that we're all, the end of this week's portion, we read about Abraham, recognizing that we're all children of Abraham and we need to make peace. And every little person who does that is like Noach. They might not be the greatest and the biggest, but they could change the direction and the trajectory of the world. And that's what you and I have to do. We have to celebrate this moment, and we have to compliment and congratulate Israel, Sudan, and the President of the United States, President Trump, for this courageous deal, for the one before and the one before. And we have to hope that we continue in this way to another one, and a fourth, and a fifth, till there'll be true peace in this world, where all the Abrahamic children could live together in unity and love and harmony. Good Shabbos to all of you. Tonight we have services 5:30. Tomorrow 10:30. It might be the last Shabbos. We're outdoors in nice weather. So if you're able to join us, message me and I'll tell you time and place, etc., etc. God bless you all, and may we learn from Noach that even if we're ordinary people, we could change the world for the good. Shabbat Shalom.